Finally, we are ready to go into this best of 5 finals. I'm gonna wait for someone else to tweet about this. I do not have the energy. Although, I feel like a child. I went downstairs intending on making myself feel better, my tum-tum, by getting something to eat. Because it's been like 6 or 7 hours and I wasn't feeling so good and haven't slept, so that would help. Instead, well, in addition to getting a sandwich, I got a glass of almond milk, and it super helped. So I'm a baby, and drinking milk helps calm my tum-tum. I always thought that was kind of just literally something that you only do with baby and kids, but apparently it works when you're an adult too. Anyone wants to settle their upset tummy. Great advice! I know! Let's actually get into StarCraft though, because this is probably going to be cooler than my tidbits of life, I'm going to be honest. In the top left as the yellow Protoss, seems to like that color, it is Neeb. In the bottom right as the blue Terran, he's GuMiho. A matchup that has occurred before, by the way. I believe they played in a semi-final best of 3. I forget who Neeb eventually went on to face. I feel like it was another Terran player. This is always Terran, am I right? It's Olimoleague. But what's funny is that, and GuMiho is maybe going for the same thing. Huh, funny. Okay, he is. Alright, so what's funny is that this is a default first map, so no one actually chose this, but it does end up favoring GuMiho if he's able to execute this build again. He actually tried this versus Neeb last Olimoleague. I ended up making a video about it, or not last week, but like a couple weeks ago when I last played, so before Neeb went to Mexico, for instance. I made a video about it because I thought it was such an interesting build. You actually get to see Byun do it in the GSO finals, and I'm sure there's been other cases of other Terrans doing it with different variations. Like, for instance, Lily Kanine did it with an extra barracks, really all in. GuMiho is just going to go for the one barrack so far. The factory and starport are actually not positioned where they were last time, which is over here, which is where Neeb is scouting, because Neeb did almost die to this. It was actually pretty scary, and what really helped was, honestly, a bit of miscontrol from GuMiho. That's mostly what helped Neeb defend against this. So if this is going to be the same plan, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and get a handful of Marines. We're going to run towards their natural base while at the same time attacking with a Widow Mine drop in the main, hopefully get damage on either side, then pair up the medevac with the Marines to continue doing damage potentially, and then follow up with Liberator and Cyclone, and then maybe tanks. So that might be the exact same thing that GuMiho is doing here. Now, Neeb hasn't scouted this. Remember, he did scout the main base, so he knows something fishy is up. He didn't see a factory put down here. He didn't see the command center put down, but he saw the reactor at an odd time without a Reaper. That's already like, wait a second, what is it gonna be? Also, last time this occurred, Neeb had a Stargate, which ended up helping. He could get Phoenixes to lift up the tank and Phoenixes to take care of the Liberator. This game, he is just going to go for a Robo Opener, which is going to give him a Warp Prism. And do you recall, Neeb has some excellent Warp Prism control, but he could also go for a back attack, a counter attack, and GuMiho just will not have anything over here. He'll be rallying all of his Marines forward, and luckily Neeb spotted this, so this is not going to be a surprise, but the Widow Mine drop is a little bit. Luckily not getting that one hit on all the clumped up probes. That would have been devastating. But thankfully, because he went for the Robo, he did have the Observer in time, doesn't have to keep on pulling probes away, and that is dealt with. The one Widow Mine is saved, the medevac goes to the Marines did not try, and go into the natural to kill any probes there, and he just has to kind of go to not the backup plan, but step number 2 of his plan, which is to break down the rocks and abuse the ledge. Which it is very abusive, you know? Just because Neeb anticipates everything that's happening here doesn't make it that much easier to hold. It does make it easier to hold, but it still has a lot to do with how you react to this specific part of the push. And even though he reacted well and didn't lose any probes, he also didn't, you know, kill anything. So GuMiho has an army to fight with here. In Lily Kanine's version, he actually paired Stim up with this, which is pretty cool. But GuMiho's going to go for the extra production first, not a command center. He is just looking to continue this push. He'll also be getting stim and combat shields, I'm going to guess. Probably stim first, but it'd be interesting to see him go combat shields. Pushes forward here. One of those medics is very low, don't forget, but at least another one here is full on health. If he had the SCV still alive, he could start repairing that, but I guess it died somewhere. Maybe in scouting or something like that. Maybe it went home, not sure. The Marine Force, while it doesn't have stim, it is still a large enough force with enough healing. Oh, why would you pick that tank up with that medevac? It can provide a lot of DPS. And the tanks, of course, being microed like they are going to provide tons more DPS. And the Liberator on top of it all, the cherry on top, is just KOing those stalkers. And they're already so low from the stalker shots. That's it. GG. GuMiho showing what that build can actually do. Because last time, Neeb was able to defend against it. That's how it's done, I'd like to say. Except that, you know, most of us would not be able to execute it as correctly as GuMiho, so... I wish that was how it's done. That was a pretty quick game, though. It was only 5 minutes, 6 minutes, so I don't really want to go to break. Hopefully the next lobby's up really quickly. Seems like it is. Frost is Neeb's map choice. Already talked a little bit about this in this matchup with Stork and GuMiho. And it just seems to be a very comfortable map for a lot of Protoss. A lot of ledges. There's some dark space that you can actually hide a Warp Prism attack into. There's certainly enough ledges to try and do drops. It kind of works both ways, though, so that's why I'm not, like, confident in saying that Protoss prefer this map, but they'd probably prefer it over others. Oh. Promote to host. I don't feel comfortable with this control. I'm not given it usually, so not in the Olimoleague anyway. I'm usually very confident being the host, but not here. Well, one thing that Frost will guarantee is no shenanigans. So that's one reason, certainly, to go up against GuMiho with this map. GuMiho and just Terran like him, really. But alright, best of 5. Terran's up 1. In the top left as the blue Terran, he is GuMiho. In the top right as the yellow Protoss, he's Neeb. Alright, so let's talk about... Oh, gas first. Okay, well, let's talk about Neeb's past history. Love this guy. Foreign Hope, American Hope, really chill guy. I mean, quiet, so you might... I don't know. You may actually think he's kind of mean, but he's not. He's just shy and quiet. Has been very nice to me as long as I've known him, which is actually technically years. He was on a team with me like 3 years ago. But anyways, he does have one weakness. I'm sure he'll tell you he has a lot of weaknesses, and he'll pinpoint every single play that he's done ever wrong ever. But his biggest weakness has certainly been his ability to mentally come back or mentally enter into a series. So it seems like he gets tripped at the semifinals. I don't know what goes through his head. If he's just remembering back to all the semifinals he's lost or what, couldn't tell you. But that's not really the case here. He's comfortable enough going into online finals. In fact, he won in the Olimoleague finals. So it's not that he's, you know, scared of that or anything. But when he gets caught off guard, when he loses to stuff like that, so like Helen's running in, a Wouldn't Mind drop that should have been easy to take care of, a cheesy push that he knew was coming and he scouted it and he knew exactly what to do but still was unable to actually take care of it, it does seem to affect him. And a lot of what I'm looking forward to, continuing to watch him participate in online cups, especially the Olimoleague, is how much he develops in being able to recover from that. Now, it's still never going to be the same as watching him in offline tournaments, and that's 100% true, but it's still, I think, something that can be worked on in all aspects of StarCraft 2 competition. And Sometimes it shows itself, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes he actually looks totally chill, even being down 2-0. But sometimes you do notice that he starts making indecisions. It's basically the problem. You'll be like, the old confident Neeb would definitely go with the Stalkers. The uncertain Neeb, who just lost 10 probes, will mess up and be indecisive. I feel so bad for this guy sometimes. He always gets the more analytical, I think, critique of his playstyle and how he wins and how he loses. Whereas for GuMiho, and of course a lot of the guys in the Olimoleague, since they're mostly Korean, Neeb, last hope, am I right? Oh, they're just gonna die. It's very nice. We don't really get to talk about them a lot because you just don't know them that personally. Actually, Neeb seemed friendly enough with GuMiho, you know, saying that he's Gosu and GuMiho said he's Chobo, and that usual exchange. Pretty basic stuff, but yeah, you just, you know, you always assume that so many of them are like innovation, you know, robot, faceless, blah blah blah, all the stereotypes, you know. The only player that really, Korean player that's been, I feel, analyzed the same way as Neeb was Byun 6 months ago. Because the same thing would actually happen to him. He would start to look indecisive and uncertain about himself if he would get into a certain place, you know. He'd go up against players he hadn't beat before or styles he couldn't beat, and he would actually falter in an entire series. But now we know him as the, you know, he doesn't actually even get concerned anymore. He appeared in the GSO finals in front of a huge crowd and did perfectly fine, so I think he's over that, right? I guess it's just what Neeb would aspire to. GSO finalist winner, am I right? 2017, heyo! Anyways, first he's got to survive this Olympic finals. Wouldn't mind dropping in the main, not unexpected, but oh my god, so close to dying. His own SimCity almost worked against him. Thank god it did not. So, cleaned up, only 2 probes went down, pretty perfect, really. And GuMiho doesn't get much else done from that. Yeah, apparently the gas first didn't lead into anything too interesting. So I remember mentioning that. Oh, a Viking follow-up? I guess he saw the Robo and is worried about a Warp Prism, which is totally in your right to do so against a Protoss player, because that's pretty common. But usually it's still not, it's just not preferable to use your starport for a Viking, it feels. Most of the time. In TVZ and TvP anyway. When you can get a Liberator, you get another Medevac, you can just get a Widow Mine, you know, like that seems so much more tempting. But he is using his factory for tanks, and I guess he still doesn't have an engineering base, so he can't place, you know, the well-placed missile turrets, because you generally know the Warp Prism is going to come in. So I guess that's why he feels the necessity for a Viking. Might never kill the Warp Prism, but at least he can get a turret. Bit of a drop covered by a Liberator is pretty nice. He will have to sacrifice units here. He does not have Blink, but he needs to save the Twilight Council to get said Blink, so it's a bit of a pickle. He does take care of the Liberator and the Medevac for the price of, I think that was 3 Stalkers, so I'm pretty sure that was actually totally worth. And GuMiho is done with his aggression. The Viking trying to chase after, or finds the Warp Prism actually, doesn't actually know where it was, is unable to do so, and the Warp Prism is actually in plain sight, but because of that, is not seen. And now Blink is done. GuMiho, he did go for the defensive tank, 2 tanks, 3 tanks almost, and Neeb sees this with the Observer, so I'm pretty sure the poking and prodding here won't be real, especially after his Observer is sniped. If the Terran only goes for 1 tank, no bunker, no wall off, this could actually kill them. But with as much as GuMiho got, this was only going to be able to poke. I think supply depots ain't bad, though. Getting SCVs, getting a tank ain't bad. Gets a couple of Stalkers killed for it, though. 3 Stalkers for supply depot, 3 SCVs and tank. I don't know. But the point is, he is keeping GuMiho on 2 bases. Not that he's quite ready for a 3rd base anyway, but he'll be able to know exactly when GuMiho feels confident pushing out, when his army's at that critical size that suddenly Neeb has to be very, very concerned. Really surprised he pushed up here, and that might have been the fault of the Warp Prism vision. He might have thought there was about half the amount of Marines there were. I wasn't checking him for that, because I didn't expect him to push up like that, not when it looks so locked down for GuMiho, and he did just lose most of his Stalker pressure, his real Stalker pressure. You know, 4 Stalkers ain't really as scary. But Neeb did get to a third base there in this entire time. He's on his way to his upgrades. His production is on its way as well. And even if GuMiho pushed right now, Stim is done, medevacs are out. The tanks would probably hold him up a little bit. You know, the observer sees the tanks are here still, so he knows the push isn't coming. But it's not a push, it's a drop. A little deceiving. Pylon, no, Warp Prism. Hey, there you go. We'll scout this, and we'll be able to get units in the correct location to defend. Where is his mothership core? It's patrolling kind of the natural, kind of the third. That scan goes down on the observer once again. Killed a few of these things. Medevac drop doesn't bother going in here. And then looks like he's going to wait for his combat shields and +1 to do a more direct attack. Which if he goes now should time up pretty nicely. Kind of. Scans the third base, sees it fully saturated, sees pylons around it too, so he knows that Neeb is going to have a solid defense. Not a, you know, an easy one, but a solid defense. And we'll try and evaluate what he should do. Plants his third CC down, which is definitely necessary, since Neeb's already been on his for so long. Upgrades are going to be behind for Neeb. Quite behind, in fact. Almost a full upgrade behind. But Neeb still has a good army type. He's getting, you know, 4 Immortals, a couple of good Guardian Shields, 1 or 2 good Force Fields. Could all lead to good things. GuMiho seems to like Doom dropping the mains lately. What's with you, Terran? Goes to the Doom drop, has tanks in here as well that we'll have to siege up. 2 Photon Overcharges, 3 Photon Overcharges end up taking out quite a lot of the units here. A couple Medevacs, a couple Marines. And it looks like this is going to be cleaned up. Neeb still has more army coming forth, too. That wasn't even all of it. And that, I would say, was not worth it for GuMiho, but ends up not taking so bad of a trade when you look at the numbers. It just looked devastating, I guess, because that was only a part of his army. I really would have thought if he was going to go for that he would have gone with the Liberators, too, you know? But, as long as he keeps an okay army supply, more power to him. He is missing the upgrade window now, though. He still has about 30 seconds. Adept, I think, was killed right there. Scouting Adept. Vikings come along for the ride. Why not? Where's the rest of that army? There are the Blink Stalkers. Now, Woodamines and a tank are covering each other and the Liberators. It's going to be scary for Neeb to get on top of that. But Neeb's army is looking pretty sizable. Probably should have pulled the probes a little bit earlier. Loses 11 of them. A single Adept's going to pop off those Woodamines, or try to, but nice micro from GuMiho. Unfortunately, it means they still don't get the greatest shots because they did on Burrow. The tanks had to be picked up and moved. He loses most of his Adepts. He needs that fodder. The front lines. The sentries are actually getting targeted now. The Immortals, all their shields have already been popped. The tanks do go down, and there's nothing but Marauders left over. Warp Prism comes in to save the rest of the Immortals as well. Accidentally slow warp in. Always awkward to see from a professional player, but sometimes happens to the best of us. And now the only thing that's really worrisome are these Woodamines. They might get the army on retreat or reinforcements or maybe even a Warp Prism. If he loses this one, that could be really scary. But he's trying to press what he thinks might be an advantage. He would be wrong, however. GuMiho still took a really good fight even after being pushed back and is still up 20 army supply. Get the Liberator and get out. Oh, not enough to one-shot it. Always feels bad about that. Some good force field take out 2 Marauders, 3 Marauders, though. Not too shabby. Oh, the Woodamines. Oh, they moved. Oh, and the Woodamines actually took out the Warp Prism, too! Oh, really nice repositioning from GuMiho. He's up 40 supply overall right now. A lot of that's an army. Nothing looking too favorable for Neeb here, except for the potential of a good army engagement. But no faster upgrades, you know, he doesn't have a disruptor on the way. He just needs to have the best army fights he possibly can, especially since GuMiho is actually just pulling the SCVs. What is this? Out of the swarm? I don't understand. Huh? Kuei? There's no Adepts here. I think this is already kind of game over when we see no Adepts able to soak up the damage for the Stalkers. 6 are warped in now, but he needs an Observer to take care of the Woodamines. He's going to lose it. A missile start's being built right here. He's gonna go for it. The SCVs are being pulled back. I guess this one's taking care of the rest of the SCVs. This is so dangerous. Again, nothing really changing for these guys except just increasing their army supply. No upgrades to wait for, no additional tech. Neeb's gonna try and go for it now. If he could see the numbers, if they could both see the numbers of each other, It'd be a very different game. GuMiho probably would have pushed, continued to push in right there, and Neeb probably would not have tried to advance his tech, realizing he could have died, but he's not dying. And he's starting to bridge the gap a little. Killing the SCVs, pushing the army back to the middle, maybe getting an upgrade lead here. Could still be Neeb's game. This time, though, he needs to think about a fourth, I would say. Main base almost mined out, natural, not looking too healthy. I mean, similar to GuMiho, right? But GuMiho is a Terran, and yeah, it can do that. I know, such a great race, isn't it? Trust me, I play it. But that's probably not the fourth base you want to get. I don't know, especially since GuMiho's been dropping so much up there. Seems questionable. Whereas this one hasn't been scouted in a long time. Would be more difficult to defend if a drop did get over there, but yeah, this one's just not going to be going. It should be canceled. I don't think it's going to be canceled. Oh, it is canceled. Okay, good. He does have this to worry about, and so much for that upgrade lead, but at least he might still be able to get to Colossus. Actually chasing down the army over here, but can't get too bold. Can't get too bold. Oh, God, no. He's not paying attention. Oh, he blinks back in the nick of time as his Widow Mines pop off. The main is cleared up here. Well, the main was cleaned up. Interesting. He was in a poor spot. Yeah, in a bad spot. Yeah. Especially after moving his army into the 4th base army. He could have continued trying to live. He could have gotten to a Colossus, maybe if it's a Dark Shrine in there. But that 4th base was going to become a ever-increasing problem, and GuMiho wasn't going to have that same problem. Not quite. It's never ideal to have your main command center move over, but it's better than what Neeb was going to face in his economy. That's going to take us into game number 3, but that means GuMiho's up 2-0 already. So very quickly to a break. We'll come back soon if need be. It's New Gettysburg coming up next. Sorry about that. Actually having some trouble with the preview, which I need to see to get the ads running. Anyway, it's game number 3. Nothing too exciting happened in the early game, so you didn't miss much. In the bottom right on New Gettysburg, as the Blue Terran, he is GuMiho. He's up 2-0. In the bottom left, as the Yellow Protoss, he is Neeb. Yeah, just watching myself on delay there, my frantic, oh, I just tapped out, didn't he? At the end right there, because it was a surprising time. Oh, that probe died. That probe. It was a little bit surprising to see him tap out, but it was definitely not a bad GG either. It wasn't like a usual GG, if you want to say it correctly, right? It was just, okay, maybe he could have done something that things better, especially if he hadn't moved his army up the ramp like that. But overall, he was losing the game, so kind of cut it there before everything died. Now, this means that he's down 2 games, which I honestly didn't expect here. Neeb has been doing fine, well enough in the Olimoleague, and even though that first game could have been one of those, oh, the downhill, truly downhill, you know, of his mindset, I would say that didn't really happen. There was no point where he looked super indecisive or like, you know, oh, yeah, whoa, I didn't do that right, I didn't do that right. Like, it wasn't a snowball, but there was the blink stalker aggression, which I think could have been better. I think, you know, Neeb being super critical of himself would also think the same thing, because that is a fairly important part of good Protoss play, I would say. It's what you wonder how pro Protoss survive, you know, the attack after when you never can type of stuff, where pro Protoss, so it's so fun to say. We'll do that blink attack, they'll do a little bit of damage, they'll control the game, they'll get out with most of them, and they'll actually take a, even if done absolutely correctly, like even a bit of a lead off of it, but it wasn't perfect. And there's other things that happened too, of course, but it was one of the moments where I was like, oh, is Neeb, you know, is he faltering here? Like, what's going on? That was a very questionable blink up. But that was really it, so I'm just hoping that this doesn't mean that this 2-0 will actually start that very obvious snowball effect that Neeb just keeps thinking about whatever happened last game and then not focusing here. He's certainly been getting better about it, so I hope not. But Oracle is on the way, followed up by a quick robo after that. Tiny bit of a supply block coming through. But a medevac drop is just right on top of Adepts. Oof, GuMiho, no. Not the way to do it. Oracle comes in to help, actually, as the Phoenix can only help so much. I'm a little surprised at that. He's going to continue building a few Phoenix, maybe go up to 5. If he stops at 2, this really is just for the initial attack, I would say. But sometimes, if you're going to go for Phoenix, you may as well go for 5. SV is very odd. It looked threatening. It's not. This looks threatening, though. The other medevac drop. And the 2 Phoenix weren't paying attention, so they let them kind of get past. Wood of Mine cleared up over here. Wood of Mine might get a shot on the Phoenix over here. Yeah, it does. A little unfortunate. Really wanted to get the medevac. Probe starting to go down in the natural base. In fact, a few more than necessary. Not pulling as soon as possible. Finally, the Adepts come over here. This has not been cleaned up either, however. And the pylon's about to go down. No overcharge anyway. Luckily, that Wood of Mine's not... It is on cooldown, because that would have been devastating if it wasn't. Oh, Flip God, don't let that take the hit. Okay. He's not. But this has been a lot of chaos, alright? Supply blocks going down, probes went down. Third base, I think, is, yeah, he wants to take it, but he can't, because against a typical Widow Mine drop, this is almost a guarantee. But what GuMiho is doing is just constant pressure, 2 medevac drops, is you know, mixing things up. And the Liberator follow-up is not unexpected. It could just continue, you know, causing Neeb to mess up, basically. Whereas, you know, GuMiho is going for a 3rd command center, which is Oracle should absolutely be killing and stalling, but he's just so focused on everything else that's happening. Finally, he clears up all the harassment after this Liberator dies, that is, but Phoenix take a long time to kill a Liberator. Look at that. 7 more probes. Total of 15 have gone down. And what's so bad about this is that the 3rd base isn't even done. Sometimes you see attacks like that. 15 probes down, but at least they got a much faster 3rd base. Not so here. And GuMiho is just looking really, really, really good in this 3rd game. Momentum certainly on his side. Unless Neeb can do some miracle work with the Phoenix Oracle combo, we won't be evening up that worker kill count anytime soon. Yeah. Trying his best, man, but bit of a live turret right there for his fallen comrade. Oh, he happens to lock on to one that was weak, too. Oh, tries to save it. That's almost nice micro, but dang. Oh, double dang. Oh, no, the Cyclone lock-on's gonna reset. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, another Phoenix is gonna go down. Oh, wow, that barely saved. Oh my god. You are one lucky Phoenix. You know that? Jeez. Well, Neeb finally has his 3rd up, but they have been on even workers, or even worse for Neeb, I want to say. And that's, you know, with Mules. GuMiho's been winning, yeah. See in the income graph, he has been winning, and there's been quite a few spikes as well. The production tab looks beautiful for GuMiho. Neeb, a little behind and everything. You know, just now getting a lot of production. Upgrades, not looking so hot as GuMiho. He went pretty greedy behind all that aggression, but it worked out exactly how he wanted it to. Phoenix is finally in enough number to start actually looking threatening, but, I mean, it's over here getting reinforcements. Not over here defending against this main push. Does Neeb actually have what it takes to defend against this? Station Trap is a really cool idea, but it's not helping. The Wood of Mine goes on top of those Adepts. The Sentry could be focus fired. It does use its last energy in a couple of force fields. Phoenixes are forced to return home. It looks like Neeb will be able to defend against this, but it was super scary. Yeah, it needs the Phoenixes to help out. Almost loses both of them. 2 of them, rather. Alright, so he holds. And the good news about the Phoenixes is that the medevac's almost guaranteed die. Nice little trick there to save that one, though. Observer hasn't been scanned, so at least it sees most of GuMiho's attack intentions. It's always nice to know. A Warp Prism's going to provide more solid attack opportunities than the Phoenixes have been. They are going to clean up this last couple medevacs, maybe? Gonna get one at least, and get out of there. Neeb, trying to make up for all those micro mistakes earlier on, is doing a good job. You know, now he looks like a super solid micro Neeb with a great macro behind at fourth base on the way, but for the first 5 minutes of this game, that wasn't the case. And he's still feeling the effects of it, too. GuMiho, you know, equal on the fourth base is not ideal in this matchup. Not for the Protoss. It's great for the Terran. But ahead 2-2. That's quite far ahead as well. And Neeb, man, like, I feel he's going to be on an inferior composition soon. GuMiho, he's going for more barracks, but he could also go for a second starport. Get those Liberators rolling out, and Neeb would just not be able to, I feel, deal with them once they get up to numbers of 6 or 7, with only Blink Stalkers and not an overwhelming amount either, you know, because he did not have the economic lead for most of this game. He still doesn't, in fact. Yeah, it's mostly blue. More Robotics Bay is on the way. He's been going for Colossus lately, so don't expect Disruptors, so that would be a surprise. Just surprising enough. I don't know about that. But he's got to buy him more time. These upgrades are pretty brutal. So it's not bad that GuMiho's going for, you know, continued bio, but he could also be advancing to either Liberators or even Ghosts, you know? If he sees that there's so many Adepts and even a couple of Sentries that could cause complications, Ghost wouldn't be a bad thing to get on 4 bases. 65 SCVs. Chugging along for the last 8 minutes or so on a good economy. Neeb finally invests into a second Forge, but only... Still gonna be way behind in upgrades, even if he dumps both Chrono Boosts. All his Chrono Boosts on both Forges, that is. Colossus is now on the way, but the army is looking for a snipe somewhere. It's either killing the army or sniping that base, so it's gonna go to the army fights. I don't know if GuMiho should really be taking this, though. He doesn't have any other units to support him, right? Like, it is really just bio medevacs with a handful of Widow Mines, which one of them gets the shot off. Not bad. But Neeb has gone down his ramp, but it's still gonna work out for him. Immortals chunking away at the Marauders. Medevac's gonna start going down too to these Phoenix. It's actually ended up being a better trade at the end just because all the Adepts are gone. Immortals are focus fired. And actually, in the blink of an eye, it just goes from one side quickly to the other without those Adepts covering Neeb's squishy little army against those Marauders. GG, that actually is it. GuMiho has 3-0'd Neeb in fairly quick fashion. Neeb, good sport, says well played. He did call GuMiho a Gosu earlier. And they're both doing that no you thing, so I won't bore you with that. But that's it for this weekly. Of course, we'll be back next week. I'm going to do us a huge favor in the Olimoleague and Korean StarCraft a huge favor. Then check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague, to look at what you can do to support the Olimoleague, as well as what you can get in return for supporting the Olimoleague, which is always super cool to get something for something, right? Yeah. I'm going to do our official shoutouts after this break, which I can in fact go to, so enough time buying. See you guys in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching those ads for the stream. Again, look at the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague, to support the Olimoleague, to do the end stream shoutouts. For the channel, please check out all of our sponsors. Chairs for Gaming, awesome. Wait a second. How does this work? DX Racer behind me. Every single one of us that actually cast on BaseTradeTV have one. They're super comfy, super nice. And if you use our code, you can get $20 off and free shipping. G2A.com, use code BASE for 3% off. Your Wood Watches, go to woodwatches.com/base. So not only get a cool watch with a certain percentage off and help us, but also to fund a super awesome tournament similar to the Yord Wood Watches Civil War that we did a couple of months ago. So same deal. And I think we sold, I mean, quite a few. It's really awesome that people actually like these watches like we do. They're not cheesy, you know, they're not, I don't know, a lot of people actually have some really weird critique of them. I think they're really nice. I think they're a piece to talk about. I got one for my dad and he likes it. Like, I don't know, I think it's a cool thing. But of course, last but not least, check out Corsair Gaming, links down below. If you use those links, it kind of lets them know that you actually were interested enough to check them out. So we do highly suggest all of their peripherals, including, you know, the headset we always talk about. I really like my mouse. It's small, it's comfortable, it does what it's supposed to. That's kind of what I asked for a mouse, and it does all of that. So I definitely suggest it if you like this type of mouses. Mice. There's also other ones that are a little more complicated, or if, you know, for bigger hands and whatnot. And of course, the keyboard works like a charm. So that's, I think, about it. Follow me on Twitter at ZG Gaming and on YouTube, which I'm trying to really build. Love to get more subscribers, so check that out at Zombie Grub and hit that subscribe button. Do builder tutorials, co-op. I have other things planned like history, StarCraft 2 history, StarCraft 2 tidbits, Brood War history, and tips and tricks too. Some fun things as well. I don't know. I actually want to start using it basically. And then finally, follow me on Twitch because I've been streaming lately as well. That's also Zombie Grub. Follow the channel, of course, down below. And I guess check out Rifkin. Of course, he had to leave early because StarCraft 2 was basically just shitting on him. I don't know what it was. It wasn't his internet. It wasn't XSplit. It was just StarCraft 2, so he had to unfortunately leave. But follow him on Twitter at Riff_Kings. And that's about that. We'll be back tomorrow with a WESG cast. I believe it's the Polish Day 2, I want to say. And WESG cast for the rest of the week. If you're going to Kings of the North, definitely hit me up. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday, so I won't be casting here. But Rifkin's got it all covered, and I've trialed you some videos for you guys while I'm there as well. So that's it now. Peace out. Those are amazing exits, whatever they're called, shout outs. Bye.